What could a lanky doofus Skeletor cosplayer who is literally appointed to stand guard and murder children possibly have to offer us as we prepare for peace? Let's take a look at Papyrus and see if these bones have any meat. Good morning, nerds. I'm Nathan, your nerd pastor here at Checkpoint Church, and we are so glad that you are back here with us for Hump Day, the third day of the week as we go through this week of peace. We're so glad that you've joined us for Advent of the Nerd. Whether this is your first video or your 8th video, we are glad that you are here. We like to start these videos out with our scripture for the day, which is Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verses 9 through 12. I'm going to be reading from the NRSV. That's just my preferred translation and what's going to be on the screen. If you have a translation you prefer, feel free to use that as well. 2 are better than 1 because they have a good reward for their toil. For if they fall, one will lift up the other. But woe to one who is alone and falls and does not have another to help. Again, if 2 lie together, they keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? And though one might prevail against another, 2 will withstand one. A threefold cord is not quickly broken. So Papyrus is one of the very first characters that you get to meet in your playthrough with Undertale. By the way, if you would like to watch us play Undertale, we do have the full VOD of Undertale posted here on this channel. I'll link it up somewhere. So right after you complete the tutorial section of tutorial, you meet 2 bumbling skeletons, Sans and our boy Papyrus. Papyrus longs to catch a human, but is, he's pretty bad at it. Remember, I did mention these skeletons are bumbling. See, Papyrus desperately wants to be one with the royal guard. So he makes a deal with the leader of the royal guard that she will let him in if he can impress the king by capturing a human. So Papyrus really wants to capture us, who is playing, you got it, a human. Sans, on the other hand, he just wants to have a good laugh and make some puns. After Papyrus fails for quite a while to capture you with a bunch of traps and japes, he decides that he's going to face the human mano a mano. And, well, it doesn't go how he would expect. There are really only 2 scenarios that happen in the game. Either Papyrus wins, at which point he traps you in his garage and you just pretty easily escape, or the only way that you can technically win in the pacifist route as the player character is to convince Papyrus to be your friend. After you decide that you're going to be friends, he wonders if you might want to be more than friends, and you end up going on a date with Papyrus. Later in the story, he even tries to protect you from Undyne. And then after all is said and done with Undyne, he tries to get you to bury the hatchet and become friends. Unfortunately, in his innocent pursuit of friendship, Papyrus does kind of end up being the one to trigger some pretty catastrophic events that lead to the true ending of the game. But more on Papyrus soon. Let's take a look at our passage. So we're not 100% sure exactly who wrote Ecclesiastes, but it can be pretty heavily inferred this is a collection of wisdom from Solomon, who is the son of King David in the Old Testament. We have a story in which Solomon prays to God for incredible knowledge and wisdom in all things, and the story says that Solomon got that wisdom, and so he chose to write a bunch of it down, and this is one of those passages. In this chapter, Solomon kind of goes out of his way to call out humanity for its sin of vanity or self-obsession. In doing so, Solomon essentially points out that self-obsession really just doesn't make any sense. Being a loner, serving by oneself, all of those things, they just aren't rational, because as soon as there are 2, they're going to conquer one. Being alone often just isn't the right thing to do. After all, there is strength in numbers. In a way, this is kind of a callback to Genesis, the very first book of the Bible, where God says this as well. He looks at Adam and he's like, yeah, that dude shouldn't be alone. Without really understanding this concept, because I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that Papyrus has probably not read Ecclesiastes, he really ends up learning this lesson and living it out to the best of his ability. Whenever we first meet Papyrus, he really comes across as pretty vain. Sans tells us that he keeps on a warrior outfit from Halloween just because he thinks it makes him look cool. And he really only wants to capture a human for his own boost in power and ego. However, it doesn't take much time for Papyrus to develop a rapport with the human, and when push comes to shove, he just can't bring himself to do it. He just plain old likes the human. Like I said earlier, even whenever you lose, he puts you in the garage and he gives you dog food just in case. Because he doesn't want you to starve. That's adorable. In a way, by the end of the story, Papyrus becomes the only one that really gets the concept. Ironically, the character that starts out as being kind of the epitome of self-obsession ends up being the most obsessed with the group. Toriel wants the human safe under her wing. Sans wants the human to stay in check. Undyne wants the human to be a worthy opponent. Asgore wants the human to open the gate. Alphys wants the human to be her bestie. Papyrus is really the only one that just wants everybody to be together. I like to think that Papyrus would really want to be a part of Checkpoint Church because that's kind of what we're doing here. Nerds, geeks, and gamers, we're all pretty different from one another, and collectively, we're all very different from the demographic that the church currently targets. Nevertheless, we believe that we really are better together. And so we're doing all that we can to papyrus this thing together. So help us out and join this crazy community called Checkpoint Church. It'll help us a ton. A skeleton. I'll see myself out. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate you taking time out of your day and watching these devotional deep dives every day of the week throughout Advent. I think you're all great, and I hope that you've been enjoying them. If you do, maybe give them a share with somebody else. Let them know that these are being made. Some other nerd in your life that might enjoy a random video about papyrus. If you're looking for the next step here, maybe consider using that prayer down in the description if you're the praying type. If you're the journaling type, maybe consider picking up our guidebook devotional down in the links as well. It's totally free and available to you anytime you want it. If you're the talking type and want to take this conversation a little bit deeper than the comment section might allow, consider joining our group in Discord. We'd love to have you there, join in the conversation, play some Pokemeow, let's just hang out. And since it is a Wednesday, that means that the newsletter went out this morning. If you're interested in receiving our newsletter, I'll put a link down there as well for you to sign up for the newsletter every Wednesday. And the final thing is that we also have a stream tonight happening on twitch.tv/checkpointchurch. We're going to be playing Tell Me Why, continuing on with that game, which we played on Monday. It's real good. I'm real addicted. It's been so hard not to keep playing. So maybe join us for that at 6 p.m. EST. With that, we got to put this skeleton boy up on that tree. Yeah, it's Papyrus up on the tree at last. Yes! I have secretly been so excited about that one. It's like my favorite. Thank you again for watching this video, and I will see you all same time, same place tomorrow for our next episode in Advent of the Nerd. Peace, day 4. Who's it going to be? We're going to watch, find out. Till next time, folks. Bye-bye!